Good afternoon and a very warm welcome back to the channel. I've owned my Triumph Street Triple for 8 years now, and the vast majority of the time I've absolutely loved this bike. But could 2025 be the time to move it on? Let's go have a chat. So I've been thinking about selling the Triumph Street Triple now for the last 3 or 4 years, but something inside me just hasn't been able to let go. So what are the reasons for that? So let's not mess around. The Street Triple is an absolutely fantastic bike. If you've never ridden one, this summer I urge you to swing a leg over one. They're absolutely brilliant fun. So why do I potentially want to get rid of it? Well, the reason is I simply don't ride it enough. I think I've ridden about 600 miles on this bike in the last 12 months. And the main reason for that is this bike requires so much energy. I can go out on the Himalayan for 2 or 3 hours at a time and come back and feel absolutely fine. In terms of the Street Triple, because you're going that much faster, you're concentrating that much more, I'll go out for an hour blast and I'm absolutely knackered. And because I do a lot of running outside of kind of the motorbike riding I do, I don't, oftentimes I just don't feel as though I've got the energy to go on this bike because it demands so much more of you. So I find myself kind of tending to gravitate towards the 125 I've got, my Royal Enfield Himalayan. And this stays in the garage, and as good as this bike is, there's really no point in having a bike if you're not going to ride it. But the great thing about this bike is that it gives me something that the other two bikes don't, which is this. This bike is unbelievably quick. It's so nimble, so agile, it's fantastic around the corners, and it never fails to put a smile on your face. But like I said, a lot of the time I don't have the energy for that adrenaline rush, so unfortunately it never gets used. So if I am to move this bike on in 2025, what are the likely replacements? Well, I've talked about it on the channel before. I want something a little bit smaller, a little bit more sedate, but something that does have a bit more power than the Royal Enfield Himalayan that I currently own. The kind of genre of bike I'm really looking at, and that I'm probably going to go for, is the modern classic range. So I love the BSA Gold Star, I love the Speed 400, and I love the offerings from Royal Enfield. I say I love them, I'm talking about the looks of the bikes. Today I've never actually ridden any of them, but yeah, from what they look like and what I feel as though they're going to ride like, I think that's the direction I'm going to go in. So really I just need to get out and ride them. Like I say, the Triumph's a great bike, it looks great, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but I think this is an absolutely fantastic looking bike. It goes great, it sounds great. But the problem is this. I'm in a 60-mile-an-hour zone, I'm doing 40 miles an hour behind a Volkswagen Golf, and a lot of the time when I'm on this bike, that's kind of the nature of the beast. This has got so much power to exploit, and even if the roads are empty, you simply can't exploit all of the power of a bike like this on the open roads. And more often than not, I find myself stuck behind tractors, cars, lorries, vans, you name it, I get stuck behind it. And I find myself frustrated that I can't push on when I kind of want to. And that's the reason for me why I think a modern classic might fit the bill so well. It's going to have a little bit more punch than the Himalayan, and definitely more punch than the 125. It's going to keep up with traffic, no problem at all. And if I get stuck behind a car like I am today, I'm not going to mind, because it's a more easy, laid-back rider. Whereas this just wants to go and go and go. You can sit behind here at 40 miles an hour, no problem at all. It's fine, but it's not really what it wants to do. And when I choose to take this bike out of the garage, it's not really what I want to do with the bike. The good thing is you've got the power to nip past things. And no other bike I own, or no other bike I'm looking to own, will to go past vehicles quite as quickly as this can. And that's the one thing that's held me back on selling this bike for the last 3 or 4 years. When you do get a quiet piece of road, when you wake up at 6 AM on a Sunday morning and go out by yourself and nobody else is about, this bike is an absolute hoot. But like I mentioned, the issue is I simply don't do that enough. Okay, so after all of that, what am I going to do with the bike? Honestly, I don't know. Part of me loves this bike and doesn't want to see it go. But a big part of me as well says it's a little bit too fast for what I want in my life right now. I kind of want to slow it down, and I'd love a modern classic in the garage as well. So over the next 6 or 7 weeks, I'm going to be going to various dealerships in the local area, trying different bikes, and there's going to be a new video on the channel every single week for you guys. So stick around for the series. I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's going to take a very special bike to replace this Triumph, but I feel as though I'm going to be test riding some pretty special bikes as well. So yeah, come along for the ride. As always, folks, thank you all so very much for watching. Take care, ride safe. Until the next time, goodbye.